to me is the one and only Jeffrey Goodman, and we have a special guest today. It is Pat Kelsey, the head coach of the Winthrop Eagles, currently getting ready to head to the NCAA tournament. Pat, how you doing, man? What's going on? Congratulations.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Goody. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Congrats. Obviously a hell of a year. We talked, you and I, about, I don't know, a month or so ago, maybe a little bit more than that. And the thing that really kind of blew me away was the construction of this Winthrop team. And obviously you've done a great job with this program over the last few years. But one of the big things that you kind of told me was how you do it transfer-wise, and the fact that so many programs are so hell-bent on getting those D1 transfers. And you've done a great job with D2 transfers. I know you don't want to give me the actual formula. You were very adamant about that when we talked a month or so ago. But what is it about the D2 transfers, the non-D1 transfers, that's been able to work for you?
Yeah, I'd say first and foremost, it's not we're hell-bent on just D2 transfers. But if we take a transfer, it has to be a transfer with a certain mentality. And so many times you find a guy that's at a lower level that's coming up to a higher level that has a different type of determination about him, a chip, if you will, that chip on your shoulder, the mentality that they're wanting to bet on themselves to prove the world wrong. And I'm not saying every D1 to D1 transfer is not that way. I think each situation is different, but there's something about that mentality, underdog, if you will, fighter, that really, really appeals to me and appeals to our program. And we've had great success with many Division II transfers. We have two here right now in Adonis Arms and in Chandler Valdron, who was just recently named player of our conference. And that's rocking a lid right there, no question.
So, Pat, I got to ask you about Chandler Valdron. 6'7" point guard, 3 triple doubles this season. Were you expecting this kind of performance out of him? And break down his game a little bit for people that have not seen him play, because he's different. He's unique.
Very unique point guard, 6'7", big, strong body. The true definition of a matchup nightmare, where smaller guards have a lot of problems with him. Bigger guys, if you try to do switching, struggle with him off the bounce. That mentality that I spoke of earlier really exemplifies what makes Chandler really special. He's unbelievably driven kid, tough-minded, competitive, and really grew during his redshirt year. He had a lot of areas that were major weaknesses of his that he owned. One is, he'll be the first to tell you, he thought he had a lot of the answers, and he was humbled in a lot of ways, owned it. And then worked on his basketball weaknesses as well. He wasn't a good shooter, was not a good free throw shooter, worked tirelessly on both of those. But he's just that type of guy that Coach used to say, when you have an elite guard, lead guard especially, you give him the ball at 7 p.m. and he gives it back to you safe and sound at 9. He runs the team on the floor. He's our engine. He's one of our major leaders in the locker room. And it's just a great luxury as a coach to have an extension of your coaching staff on the floor all the time. He truly is special.
So one of the reasons why I think you guys can win a game in the NCAA tournament is DJ Burns. You've got a big boy who can match up a high major big man, right? I mean, that's a difference maker, isn't it? I mean, we saw it in the championship game early.
Yeah, and what he's really evolving into is a guy that's more accountable and more trustworthy in terms of being consistent with his performances. I used to say for a while he was like a Ferrari. Ferrari, he doesn't look like a Ferrari, but, whatever it was, a Land Rover, a Hummer, whatever it was, a very expensive car. But I said a Ferrari because, he was good when the weather was nice, kind of that sunshine soldier and summer patriot, as Skip Prosser used to talk about. But you go into the games and you couldn't totally rely that you were going to get that elite DJ that we know he's capable of. And he's really been that more and more. What's great about him is when the lights are the brightest and the moments are the biggest is usually when he's the best. You look at his performance, fellas, last year in the conference finals, we were down 15 to Hampton in the first half, 15 points. And he had the greatest performance I've seen him have in a Winthrop uniform until the one he had this year on Championship Sunday, when the stakes were the highest and the lights were the brightest, and he was really, really good. the more he becomes consistent in his elite approach is when he's going to continue to be an elite player. I just love coaching him. He's, we talk about those D2 to D1 transfers, and we haven't taken many 1-to-1 transfers, but he's as humble of a heart as you'll ever find. Talk a guy that understands his weaknesses and owns them. That's DJ. He's a great kid to be around. He's got an electric personality, and he's got a really bright future here at Winthrop.
So, Pat, you mentioned last year's championship game. You qualified for the NCAA tournament last year, and obviously that did not happen. So how rewarding was it to get this group of guys to actually have their shot? You guys went, what was it, 22-1 this season? So whatever it was in one loss. So how rewarding was it to be able to say, okay, we got it done. Now we're going to the big dance.
23, but who's counting? But,
math is not my strong suit.
It's hard to do. We did it the hard way. Let's face it. The reality is where we're at in our conference, traditionally, historically, we've never had an at-large bid. So we understood that we were going to have to get back to this weekend. No matter how great of a regular season had, I think at one point we had won 18, 17 in a straight or something like that. We had to be great in this weekend. We had to be firing on all cylinders when the stakes were the highest, when everybody was back to 0-0. We won the league by 5 games, but then all of a sudden it went back to an even playing field. We had to play, first of all, High Point, who's coached by a Hall of Famer in Tubby Smith, who we had just beat twice in a row. We had to play him for a third time in a row. And then, won each game by an average, I think, of like 26, 27 points. So we sure as heck didn't do it the easy way. We took the hard way. But it was just our whole deal, and this is coach speak, and it sounds simple, but I'm telling you, this was our deal. From the moment the NCAA tournament shut down, we had a 3-month quarantine. They came back for summer school. And because we have such a veteran team, we were able to do this. There was just an approach of excellence in everything we did, from the first weightlifting session to the first workout, to the first practice of the preseason, to every film session. There was a team that was really leaning forward and striving for greatness. And again, man, it sounds like boring coach speak, but it's what this team was all about, way more process-oriented than results-oriented. We knew if we were elite in our preparation, results would take care of themselves because we had great pieces within our organization. So I'm glad to be continuing to play. It was so much fun to look at the practice plan yesterday, and it says March 10th at the top. And you're still playing and preparing. And that's a great feeling in coaching.
Hey, Kelsey, before we let you go, Lou Hill, we had 2 Division I head coaches pass away this year. Anthony Stewart of UT Martin and Lou Hill of Texas Rio Grande. And it just got me thinking, obviously, about Skip, right? I mean, just got me thinking because, obviously, of how he passed and the grind and everything like that. And just give me what you've learned from him as you go into this. I know you can't put it into one minute segment. I know you probably there would be a book, but I miss Skip Prosser so much just because of his personality, Kels.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have enough time, and I know you guys have a hard stop here in a little bit. I think the best thing I could say, and Dino said it at his funeral. He was one of the ones that gave a eulogy. Chris Paul, Eddie DeChellis, Dino, myself. Dino said he might be the most successful coach in the history of college basketball to not have an enemy.
Yeah.
And we all know in this business, that's virtually impossible. But he just had this folksy way about him where, yes, he was a Pittsburgh guy, ate gravel for breakfast. His dad worked in the steel mill. Blue collar as blue collar gets. He wanted to rip your face off in competition. Hated to lose like nobody I've ever been around before. But he was just such a class act and a gentleman, and such an example as to how you can be an elite professional, but at the same time be an elite person, treat people the right way, live your life the right way, and leave a legacy that'll last a lifetime. How? By all the young men that he coached and all of the coaches that were able to coach under him. The example he set, and for that reason, we all pay that forward or try our best to pay it forward. We can't hold a match to the type of coach and person that he was, but all the people that came underneath him continue to teach the lessons that he taught to our constituents every single day. Just like you said, Goody, I miss him every single day. And he continues to live on in the minds and hearts of myself and all the people that I've coached and been around.
Well said, Pat. Well said. We appreciate you joining us. Get ready, get packed, because you got to leave Saturday for Indy, don't you?
Yeah, it's cool, man. Rock the hill.
Thanks, my man. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys.
All right, Robert. Now we'll move on to today's slate, which is absolutely loaded. I feel bad that we're cutting our viewers short here a little bit, but we want to bring something different to the table, give guys some insight into why some of these teams have a chance to win a game in the NCAA tournament. So we're gonna do that as much as we can here over the next week, while still, Rob, if you notice, he's actually well dressed. He has something at 9:30 that he's got to do. So
pretty big name. Pretty big name. 68 shining moment, baby. We got a pretty big name. We got a good one coming. So
yep.
Let's start with today. What game are you looking forward to the most? Because the one that I'm looking forward to the most is the rematch of West Virginia and Oklahoma State. They've played twice this season, and they've been absolute barn burners.
No. The game you're looking forward to the most has to be Duke, Florida State. Like, are you out of your mind? That is the game. It's the game. If they win, they're in.
You have 45 seconds to say what you need to say about Duke, and then we're moving on from Duke. Go ahead. Go. 45 seconds. Clock is ticking.
You hate Duke, but Mark Williams, my man. Mark Williams is a star. What did I say yesterday? I think I said yesterday.
I have a question for you. A serious question. How did Coach K get DeAndre Ayton into Mark Williams' jersey without anybody realizing that it was DeAndre Ayton? Because
Now it helps that Louisville's got no good bigs. Okay, it does help that way. But regardless, I tweeted out and everybody killed me. Coach K knows more than you. I said, if Coach K had been playing Mark Williams big minutes from the outset, and I know he wasn't ready. I get he wasn't ready, but sometimes you just got to force feed guys and understand that it's gonna speed up their progress. That's all.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, do you know why Mark Williams wasn't getting minutes at the 5 at the very start of the season? It wasn't just because he wasn't ready.
Well, he didn't fit. He didn't fit with the other two guys.
Who was playing at the 5?
Well, it was your boy Tape was getting some minutes.
Was it Jalen Johnson that was playing at the 5?
Yes.
Oh, so Jalen Johnson's gone, and now Mark Williams is able to get minutes. Right. Interesting how that worked out. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, he and Matthew Hurt fit together. That's the biggest thing is they complement each other. Where we've talked about, and we won't go into this much more, but Jalen Johnson and Matthew Hurt just didn't complement each other all that well, and Jalen Johnson wasn't nearly as bought in as Mark Williams is. But Duke does need this win. If they get this win against Florida State,
they're getting 4 points. They're getting 4 points. Let's talk about the lines. We got 10 minutes before I got to get out of here, so let's talk about the lines. What do we got?
All right. So I don't love that line. I just think that game is the game to watch. What's your favorite line for tonight?
My favorite line for tonight is you gotta take that hat off.
All right.
You gotta put on the red and white hat that you have.
This one?
The red and white hat that you have.
This one?
Yeah, for Big East Coach of the Year, Mike Anderson getting a point and a half.
This
baby.
one?
Big East Coach of the Year, Mike Anderson getting a point and a half. You cannot give Mike Anderson a point and a half at home. Not when he's getting Posh Alexander back. Not when he just beat up on Seton Hall 3 days ago. Mike Anderson, baby. When they win the Big East tournament, Goodman, when St. John's makes a run and wins the Big East tournament, I'm going to bring him on to this show and make him apologize to his face.
He will not come on unless I'm not here. Once when I did their game in Portland, the PK 80, and I'll give him credit. He wouldn't do the interview. I asked him to do it. I knew we hadn't talked in years, but he at least let one of his players do the interview. What am I on one? Huh?
You're on one today. Goodman is on one every day. Every single day. Yeah, but so the logic behind that is just that Seton Hall's point guard play is always a problem. I think that with Posh back, it just makes that press all the more effective for St. John's. Yeah. And this is just a matchup that I've been targeting all week. I'm glad that St. John's was getting points. I kind of thought that it was going to be the other way. So as long as St. John's is getting points, I'm going to be on the money line in that spot. I feel confident about them advancing. I like the other early game in the Big East too. You know who I'm on there?
You are on the Georgetown Hoyas.
Georgetown Hoyas.
It's like
it's 1985 in the Big East again, baby.
It might be. I mean, what
is
going on here?
Let's go. But look,
are you on DePaul too?
Am I on DePaul? No. Have you not noticed the bit that every time UConn plays, I say that I'm betting on UConn? Have you not noticed that?
I have.
I picked UConn every single game that they've played that we've done the show. They've been
my
on.
favorite line is Rutgers giving 3 against Indiana today. I think it's over. I think Indiana's stick a fork in them. Rutgers, again, I know Rutgers isn't playing for a ton, but they're still at a point where you want momentum going into the NCAA tournament. They need to lock themselves in. Giving 3 against an Indiana team that has looked awful lately.
Yeah, I like that.
What else you got?
I'm a little bit worried about Rutgers. I feel like they are capable of a stinker, and maybe it's just because I've gotten them wrong every time that I've bet on them so far this season, but it just does not feel. I don't know. I never feel confident in Rutgers, but the logic that you're taking is the way that I would want to go if I was betting that game.
Carolina, love Carolina, only giving 3 against a Virginia Tech team that's been in a pause. Carolina beat the living bejesus out of Notre Dame. Really, really like the Tar Heels here. Really like it.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It really does feel like North Carolina is peaking. And it also really does feel like that weird loss to Marquette had everything to do with playing this random non-conference game in the middle of conference season. We saw it. Same thing happened to Kansas. Kansas almost lost to UTEP at home, playing a weird non-conference game in the middle of league play. Oklahoma's getting 3 points against Kansas tonight without David McCormick and without Tristan Enaruna. McCormick's been the best player for Kansas so far this season. They've turned their offense into something where they build it around McCormick in the post. Without him there, I don't know where they're going to get the offense from in the paint. Oklahoma played yesterday. They did not look great against Iowa State. They lost 4 in a row coming into the tournament, but this is when they need to really turn things around. Do you like the Sooners there?
I don't love the game. I don't have many yes, if it were last year's Brady Manick or even 2 years ago, I would like the Sooners. I just haven't seen out of him what I need to see. And his toughness, I don't think is going to be able – Mitch Lightfoot against Brady Manick. Mitch Lightfoot is tougher. And I'm not sure – honestly, I'm not sure that's not a better matchup for Kansas because he can get out on him. He can defend him on the perimeter. And that's all Brady Manick really is dangerous at, right, is shooting threes at this point. Where McCormick, there's no way he'd be able to go out now. Again, on the other end, McCormick would eat Brady Manick's lunch in the post. They're not going to be able to take advantage of that. I don't love this game either way, to be honest. I think the game. What do you like? Michigan State, Maryland.
That's actually the game. I said this at the beginning, and you laughed at me, but this 11:30 a.m. window. Yeah, I'm so fired up.
Yeah, 11:30 and 12.
Yes. Yeah, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Michigan State, Maryland, and Syracuse, Virginia. This is a little peek behind the scene at the Dauster compound, but my office has been taken over by my wife because she needs the desk. She's working from home. She's on calls all day. She needs the big monitor. It's hard for her to work.
She's more important than you.
She is more important to me. I've never denied that. I'm a trophy husband. So, but my office is where I have the 2 TV screens set up. So I need to come up with a good excuse that allows me to get into the office today so I could have the 2 TVs. I could have the computer monitor so I can watch all 3 of these games at noon. In the chat, I need help. You guys got to help me come up with something. What am I going to say to get back into my office today?
I don't know, but I'm moving downstairs. Although I got some stuff to do this afternoon, but I'm going to try to downstairs. I got the 2 TVs here. I got one. I got a couple computers, so I can make it work here, but I might have to move downstairs.
Yeah. So, anyway, in those games, I really like Oklahoma State +3. I'll probably be on the money line there. All these lines, by the way, I should have mentioned, are from Bet Rivers. You can see the Powered by Bet Rivers. You can see the promo code special right there. They have some good deals and some good specials for March Madness. So make sure you download the app or go to betrivers.com to sign up. Yeah,
I like broken fire stick, Tim. I want to know what this is. Get 4 games on one screen at once.
the Fire Stick. Who said that?
No, you said got to get a jailbroken fire stick. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Good idea, Jimmy. I'm with you, Jimmy. She won't go. Gabrielle isn't going to a spa day, not in the pandemic.
Well, I mean, she's fully vaccinated now. She got both the shots.
All right, send her to the damn spa. Get her. Listen, it's worth the money.
Go get your nails done. I got you a gift certificate. Here you go. Yeah. So I like Oklahoma State. I do think that West Virginia. I don't trust their defense. I don't trust their ability to keep people out of the lane. I think that they are going to struggle against teams that have guys that can put the ball on the floor and get to the rim. And as Mike Boynton told us the other day, was that on the group chat? I don't remember where it was. He said somewhere, he told us somewhere that he expects Cade and Ice to be playing today. Yeah. And if you're going to give me Cade and Ice against a team that just gave up 31 points to Avery Anderson, that's a tough matchup. So I love Oklahoma State there. I also love Michigan State. And their logic is simple. Yeah. One of those teams has Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me I can get Tom Izzo?
Yeah. Maryland's not that good. They're not overmatched at any spot really against Maryland. And they're playing good basketball. They are. I mean, to me, again, I like that one. I kind of like Ole Miss giving 7 against South Carolina.
So
South
actually,
Carolina, kind of a dead team.
Now that you mentioned Ole Miss, we have Michigan State very much on the bubble, Duke very much on the bubble, Syracuse very much on the bubble, Ole Miss very much on the bubble. Which one of those teams do you think can survive the win? Can any of them? All of them? What do you got there?
I mean, again, I think
survive a loss. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Seton Hall, St. John's is kind of the knockout game. Then you got the Mountain West games too, the bubble games that are important today with Colorado State, Utah State, and Boise. All 3 of those are right on the bubble. So there's about 8 teams on the bubble right now, and that are right there. And I think Duke can put themselves there and maybe at the front of it because they've got the biggest game in front of them. They've got the win that can move them. They already beat a Louisville team that's probably in the field. And now if you beat Florida State, it's just such a big, important win that I think it puts them. So Michigan State,
honestly, I think Michigan has a very good chance to get in, even with a loss to Maryland. I think the win over Maryland they're in. They're not even.
They're avoiding the first 4. They're avoiding the first 4 if they win this.
Yes, that's what it is. Syracuse, I think that they're probably in if you beat Virginia. Yeah. But I think that you might.
They're in. I think you're in again. If you beat Virginia, I think you're in because they can justify.
Well, I always say you have a very strong argument to get in if you beat Virginia. Right. But I still think that they probably want to get one more win if they're going to feel comfortable. Also, for the record in that game, I really like the over. Syracuse doesn't really guard. They play that zone. Virginia shoots a ton of threes. And Syracuse is going to run. And if there's one thing Syracuse can actually do this year, it's run and score. So I like over 132 in that game. We had some questions about Kentucky laying 3. I'm obviously going to be on Kentucky here. There's no logic in that one. I just want Kentucky to win. So I want to do it. That's one of those ones where it's like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to bet on the team that I want to win. And
you kind of. I mean, again, I feel like most of these instances, you're going with the team that needs the win against the team that generally. Now Kentucky's a little different because they need it. Mississippi State needs it the same way. But a Michigan State, a Duke. Some of these teams that clearly need these wins desperately to get in. And it'll be interesting to see if they come through. Enough of them come through at least.
All right, and so one last one. I'm going to put all of these are going to be up on BetSperts. Right. Make sure you go check BetSperts.
Check today.
The last one that I really really like is Kansas State getting 20 points against Baylor. Kansas State's been playing much much better of late. It feels like they've turned a corner. They've won some games. I do expect this game to be somewhat low scoring. I don't think that's going to be able to get up into the 80s. And if you can give me 20 points in a game that I expect to kind of be in that 70-point range, I want to be on it. Kansas State has been better offensively. They've been better offensively.
Yeah.
Baylor's had some issues defensively. They haven't been as great. Their rotations aren't quite there. I'm not going to go through that spiel because I don't really have the time to do it right now. But
You do not.
I like Kansas State there. I also Texas plus 104 on the money line.
I don't understand that. Again, I'm all in with Texas. I'm all in with Texas again. I think they're just so talented and experienced, and they got their mojo back. Terrence Clark is back. Is he back? Is he going to play or just practice? Like, I don't know what's going on with Terrence Clark. I don't really care because it's irrelevant to Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Well, listen, that is all we have. Make sure that you go and you follow us on the BetSperts app. That's BETSPERTS, like experts, but BetSperts. So that's where all of my picks are going to be. If you have any questions, we can get into this a little bit later. Maybe we'll do a locker room or something like that this afternoon. Tweet us questions. I can help you out there, but I have to run. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Pat Kelsey, shout out to him. Let's go Winthrop, Fighting Eagles. What do you say? Rock the Hill?
Yeah, Rock the Hill. We're going to have another guest on tomorrow morning, and we'll have a little bit more time tomorrow. So I got a good guest tomorrow morning.
Interesting name. We can drop some hard-hitting questions on him.